3rd, and I thank you once again for joining us for our weekly PPACA webinars. Easy for me to say, right? So we do have quite an agenda, but as typical, I want to start with a few housekeeping items. If you are new to the webinar format, then if you want to ask questions, you can do that in one of two ways. You can click the little hand icon on your control panel to the right of your screen, or you can just type in a question in the question box and we'll answer it as a group so that we can all learn from each other. So with a show of hands, you know, if you're a long-time listener to our webinars, you know I have some issues with the screen sharing. So just with a quick show of hands, if you can see my screen and the actual PPACA webinar agenda, you can just click on the hand icon. All right, great. I do see some hands going up, so hopefully that's an indication that you can see what we're going to talk about today. So as I fight with the system, okay, there we go. So we'll start with our first agenda item, and I talked a little bit about it last week. And it's the Aetna and Health America group compensation. There were some service fee or broker service fee forms that went out from Coventry, and they were due by Monday. And what that did is that allowed you to put in a specific compensation or producer service fee that you wanted for your 7-1 groups. Essentially, it affects it affects Aetna and Coventry, and it's for July 1st, 2015 effective date. It's going to be the compensation model on all 1 to 100 Delaware, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia Coventry groups, and all Aetna new and renewing business. So it does have an impact on any of your groups currently in the hopper and any groups moving forward. If you've done nothing with that form that you received, then your group compensation for Pennsylvania for the 1 to 100 automatically defaults to 5%, but I would encourage you to get that form in because we did have some issues last time. So I want to make sure that that you have that in so that there are no issues. If you have questions on this form, you can certainly contact myself or John Reel at extension 118 here at URL. So I also mentioned last week that I was going to talk a little bit about the 1094, 1095 forms, and I can't say that I'm an expert. I'm not a professional tax preparer, so I will let you know what I know at this point. If you have any more specific questions, I can take those as a takeaway and get some more clarification, or if you have, you want to reach out to me and ask a question over the phone, then I'm happy to do that. So what it really boils down to is we're going to start with the 6055 and the 6056. These are IRS codes indicating the requirement to file. The 6055 is really the functionality of that form is really to verify the individual mandate. It is, if you're fully insured, this has been done by your carrier on a group, and it's really verification that the employer is offering minimum essential coverage so that the people that are uninsured could be compared against these lists and then possibly be charged a tax penalty for not adhering to the individual mandate. The 6056 form is verification and enforcement of the employer shared responsibility, and it also confirms the eligibility of the advanced premium tax credits for those individuals that went to the marketplace. So those are just the codes. So moving on, who needs to file these forms? In 2014, if you have a group or if you are a group of less than 50 and you're fully insured, you don't need to do anything. The carriers actually are doing this for you in this segment of the market. If you are over 50 or a group of any size that is self-funded, then you would need to submit these forms, these reporting forms. And it looks like they're due the very beginning of 2016, around end of February, end of March, depending on how you file. There was transition relief for the employer mandate for the groups of 50 to 99, and that transition relief does not include not filing these forms. So they have to file the information even if they are 50 to 99 and get the reprieve from the employer mandate. They don't get the reprieve from filing the form. The information that I received, they also mentioned that the 1095 is similar to a W-2 form, and the 1094 is similar to a W-3 form. So I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but I'm passing that along. And the letters at the end of these forms, the A, B, and C, the A indicates that it's a marketplace form, and the marketplace will issue these forms. The 1095As were sent out. This is what the controversy was about with the 800,000 people receiving inaccurate tax information. So the marketplace did send all of those forms out for the individuals that went through the FSM. The B letter at the end of the form is indicative of the insurers and the non-applicable large employers of self-funded plans. They're the ones that filed this B form. And then the C is for the applicable large employers, i.e. the 1094 or 1095C. So, I don't know if that answered anybody's questions, but it hopefully gave you a little bit more information on these new forms that we're all required to know about. Moving on, there is an Aetna group webinar. This is not a URL-sponsored webinar. The information is going to be in my newsletter today, but I thought maybe those on the call today would have an interest in joining in. And there is, again, the information and the invitation is going to be in the webinar, or I'm sorry, my newsletter. The webinar is on May 12th. There's one session that runs from 10 to 11:30, and then the next section 2 to 3:30. So watch for information on that. Geisinger for special election periods for off FFM. This is the individual market. They are allowing the forms now to be submitted, the applications and for the special election period for loss of minimal essential coverage until the last day of the month for an effective date of the first day of the following month. As you know, they kind of bumped that back up to the 15th. Now for off exchange, they're allowing those applications to come in at the end of the month. So for instance, 4/30, if the application is submitted, you could still get a 5/1 effective date for the loss of minimum essential coverage. That's a positive, I believe. And on to our constant area of frustration for all of us. There are issues with billing and commissions with Highmark and all carriers, to be fair. But we received information late last night, and again, this is going to be in my newsletter. But they're basically saying, due to the issue that the NPNs dropping off, they're having a difficult time identifying agents and hooking them into the cases that they submitted. So we've implemented a procedure that you can upload or notify us on our website of any FFM business submitted, and of course you can contact your case manager to verify that the application has been received and you are attached as the agent. So Highmark has come out, and for off-exchange enrollment submitted by paper or electronically through the Highmark portal, they indicated that you should make sure that the enrollments have a complete producer certificate, which is the form online, if it's paper enrollment, complete producer certificate. If it's online, then everything should be printed out and saved. If you submit your information for us to submit the applications for us to submit off marketplace to Highmark, then we already do all this for you. But if you're doing it yourself, make sure that you do complete the entire producer section so you can be identified. If there is an issue, then there are some reporting issues that you have, reporting requirements to get yourself hooked into that case, namely the client verification form, along with a copy of the application or producer certificate if it was done off portal. For on-exchange enrollments that were submitted through the redirect to Highmark, they're giving you a location on their website where the business can be found and how to print out a report. what they're asking you to do is to go through that list and cross out the ones for which you have been paid. You could circle or star or highlight those that are missing. In order to identify them, they're asking for the first and last, the Social Security is needed to find the correct member. Agent first and last name should match what's on the printout. Login information, agency number, producer number, all of that. So there's quite a bit of steps you need to go through. But again, all of this will be in the newsletter. And then on exchange enrollment processed directly through healthcare.gov. They have no way of indicating or knowing what is missing. So if you are missing those cases, then a client verification form is needed. So I know that's a lot of information, but again, if you have questions, give me a call, and I'd be happy to locate your cases or help you locate your cases. If you're not getting paid, we're certainly not getting paid either. So the next bullet point is about the Pay Who Day on the Hill and the Continuing Ed and Day on the Hill rally. I didn't know if anyone attended and how it went. If you wanted to share your experience in the question box, I'd appreciate that. Of course, I was not able to attend and just wanted to see some feedback. And again, I ask you, how can I help you? What do you want to know more about? During the downtime, and I say that in quotes, the downtime from the end of the special election period, I want to make sure that I'm providing the service that you need and the information that you need. So let me know what you want to know about, what you have questions about, and I'd be happy to add that to the agenda items, and we can discuss it further as a group. As many of you know, during the off time, I've committed to every other week having a guest speaker that I feel is timely and could help you in identifying opportunities outside of the special election period. Next week, Karen McDaniel is going to sit in and talk a little bit about some lock-in opportunities and, of course, opportunities outside of Medicare and the under 65 special election or open enrollment periods. Karen is our Director of Medicare Operations and Compliance, very knowledgeable, so I'm sure that you'll find that information very informative. So that's really it. We're going to open it up now for the open forum and get some questions answered. And looks like, once again, there are no questions, and I'm not sure why that is. Let's see here. Okay, well, since I'm not quite sure what's going on with the system, and I know that people can see my screen, looks like no questions are being typed in. So again, oh, here's one. Oh, okay, I do have one that Julia jumped on a little late. She wanted me to review the first bullet point on the Aetna compensation. Both Aetna and Health America Coventry are moving towards producer service fee in lieu of commission. You can determine what that fee is by discussing that service fee with your group. There was a form that was needed by 4/20. If that was not submitted, you are automatically going to default to the levels that Aetna and Coventry agreed upon. And for Pennsylvania, that means for your 1 to 100 groups, 1 to 100 person groups, you would get 5% producer service fee. The information is going to be in my newsletter, so I will, you'll certainly get get that information. And Bill says, are other agents experiencing some of the marketplace changes that we are since 2014 tax returns have been filed by the consumer? Yes, I can tell you, Bill, that they have. It's kind of been a nightmare all the way around. We've had some people that sent in their documentation as required or requested on their subsidy determination, and it was never received. Now they're saying that you have to essentially put everything but the kitchen sink on every single piece of paper that you send, or they can't guarantee that it will be hooked up to the case. Yeah, it's been a real nightmare. And for those of you that attended the Day on the Hill, I'm just curious, too, to see what the atmosphere was about a state-based exchange. It's not something that I personally felt was, a good idea for our state, but I have heard that in the 13 states with the state-based exchanges, that the ease of use and solving and resolving issues is much better. So if that's the case, then I say bring it on, because God knows we need to get some real sources of assistance out there for all of us. So again, that looks like the end of the questions, and I'll just mention that next week is Thursday, April 30th. That's our webinar for next week, and again, Karen will be joining us. And as always, I very, very much appreciate your business and your partnership, and look forward to doing more business together. So thank you again, and have a great day and a great weekend. Bye-bye.